Hi, and welcome to today's reading, the ultimate communication reading with Timeframes. So, what does this mean? So, let me just tell you a little bit about what the reading's going to be like, okay? It's going to be in 4 parts. The first part is going to be what they want to say to you, what they want you to say to them, and what they're hiding still, or basically what they're sitting on right now, okay? What they haven't yet communicated and they're not ready to communicate yet, but basically what is true, okay? Part 2, we're going to be looking at blocks, and we're going to be looking at motivations behind the behavior that you're seeing from your person, okay? Part 3, we're going to be allowing any kind of extra information to come through, plus getting advice on how to resolve blocks and just advice in general for the relationship, okay? And then part 4 is we're going to be talking about the timing. When are you going to hear from them next? What do I believe is your next time where you guys are going to be communicating in a way that you're getting things, you're basically getting things done with your person, okay? So I do want to say this is going to be framed as a love reading, okay? But that doesn't mean that you can't ask about a different relationship. Just know that I'm going to be using terms that have to do with love, and that's what I'm going to be thinking about when I'm doing this. Before I name the piles, I just wanted to go ahead and say anything you need to know about me is in that description. You'll see timestamps there. Also, if you want to order a private reading, I think I'm booked for the rest of the week, but you can start ordering for next week. And that's at my new site. I'm really proud of my new site. Okay. So, and then, anything else, any kind of news, I'd normally put at the end, but I can really tell you right now, on Friday, we're going to have a You Ask the Question reading, and then be looking for a bonus video sometime between now and Monday, because I have an idea for a very short reading that I'm thinking about doing. So, but yeah, on Friday, we have You Ask the Question. It's going to be one of those with the smaller piles, and there'll be either 8 or 10 for you to choose from. So you'll have a lot of different options. You can ask multiple questions and pick different piles, but that's going to be on Friday. So that said, all right. So because this is going to be a kind of a more robust reading, I decided to use an entire deck of tarot cards for each pile. Okay. So each pile we're going to name for the tarot decks. Okay. This is going to be pile number 1, which is, I'm going to call this the blue mandala. Okay. Pile number 2 is the green mandala. Pile number 3 is the brown mandala. Pile number 4 is the plaid. Pile number 5 is the white mandala. And pile number 6 is the dark blue stars. Okay. All right. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're about to start with pile number 1, but before I do, go ahead and pause the video if you need to, so that you can maybe meditate on that and figure out which card to draw. And otherwise, we're going to start with pile number 1. All right, guys? Okay. All right, those of you who picked the blue mandala, here is your reading. Now I'm going to do this a little bit different in that we're going to be looking at these cards first, okay? And I just realized I covered up my little notes here. Okay, so I'm gonna shuffle this on screen just so you know that it's shuffled. All the decks are pre-shuffled, but I want you to know that I'm not like, this is really, All right, so we're looking at questions. What they want to say to you, what they want to hear from you, and what they're hiding still, or basically what they're sitting on. Okay, what they want to say to you. Okay. What they are looking to hear from you, and anything that might be hiding right now. Okay. All right. So let's see if you can see all of these. I don't know if my screen will show all of them or not. Yeah, it looks like some of them are cut off. But we'll look at all of them. Okay. So first, let's go ahead and this is what they what they want to say to you. What they want to say to you is they're right now in pain, and it's really hard for them to be positive, okay? And I feel like this person, your person is trying really hard to work through some kind of negative experiences. I don't even feel like this has to do with the relationship itself. It's like there's darkness in your person's life, whether it's something outside of themselves or something inside. But basically they're trying to break a habit of thinking about things in a negative way, okay? They are noticing that it might actually even be clinical depression, just because I see this with clinical depression sometimes, of just kind of wanting to run away from one's thoughts, and having that, and then what creates is, obviously you can't run away from your thoughts. They're always going to be there, but that tension is created where it feels like a person is very uncomfortable with whatever's going on in their head, and then that can create, especially with some darkness going on in their life, like grief and that kind of stuff, it can create a really cloudy and very depression-oriented frame of mind. Now, it might not be clinical depression, but that's kind of I just want to kind of mention just how, I guess, negative they're feeling right now, okay? But your person also, if they could say anything to you, what they would want you to know is, I'm trying to work through my stuff, and when I do, I have something really important that I want to offer you. I want to give something to you. I want to be able to do that. It's just, I'm going to be moving slowly, okay? For those of you who might not, we're going to look at time frames, okay? But just off the bat, for those of you who might not want to wait that long for this particular person, understand it is going to take them a while before they're out of this. They might still message you or get a hold of you before they're out of this kind of funk, but just know that it's going to take them a while before they're ready to give of themselves to you, that they feel strong enough to do that, okay? So what they'd like to hear from you, we have the Queen of Cups, the Nine of Cups, and the Three of Pentacles here. Sometimes I call them coins. I kind of go back and forth about my terminology here. So basically what they'd like to hear from you is just a lot of support. That can be difficult if you're not getting from your person what you need yourself, okay? It's definitely not a fun feeling to want to give people support when they're not necessarily being very nice, I suppose, or they're not being very present with you. But just understand, emotionally, they want to know how where they stand emotionally. They want to feel, you help them feel. That's actually a good way of putting it. But they want to hear how you feel, and they want to listen to you express yourself and that kind of thing. They want to have hope for the idea that there can be a happier time for the two of you, okay? And how can you do that? Well, the way that you do that is that not only are you expressing yourself in positive ways, like instead of saying something like, I haven't heard from you for a long time, you could say, it would be really nice to hear from you, that kind of thing. That's one way. And the other way is, when I see the Three of Pentacles, now this tends to be a work card but we're talking about a relationship. So this is a feedback card, basically. It's somebody who has done some things and they want feedback on what they've done. Okay. And when we think about feedback, we, sometimes it can be like kind of critical and sometimes it can be great, but the kind of feedback your person wants is feedback that they're, that they are capable, basically, that they are able to give you something without them having to go through all of this yet. Okay. So what I mean from that is that them just being themselves is enough for you. At least I feel like that's true for most of you. But what they're feeling is that they just need kind of a pick-me-up, you know? So they basically need a little pat on the back to tell them that that they've done a good job, you know, where in whatever area of the relationship where they've done a good job, make sure that you're letting them know that. Now, if there's no communication and that's an impossibility right now, that's okay. Just keep this in mind. This is what they want to hear from you. This is the kind of stuff that they're looking for when they reconnect with you. This is the kind of stuff that's going on that, you know, they'd like to share with you. Now, this is you know, what they're hiding, but also like what they're sitting on, basically. All right, guys, I apologize. I had a cat moment, basically, and everything got like all out of whack. And so I had to get things set up again. But we're good. So the next part was basically what they want to tell you, but it's like it's hidden still. It's not, they're still sitting on it. It's like they're kind of thinking about that. What's hidden in this relationship on a communication level that needs to be communicated to you anyway. All right. So we have the King of Pentacles here. All right. We have the Ten of Swords and we have the Star. The thing about that I'm getting about this the most, and I can't help but mention that we've got the Knight of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, and then we have the King of Pentacles here. That lets me know that this is representing the kind of person, okay? They want to be the kind of person that they are able to give you something. The Queen of Cups, they would like you to be the kind of person that's emotionally receptive and brings that emotional buoyancy to the relationship. And then the King of Pentacles is, again, kind of reiterating, they want to provide for you. They want to be able to give you the world. They want to be able to give you everything they can. The problem here is that they know that they're not going to be able to give you everything just all at once. You know, this is actually an important thing to know, though, is that even though they want to give you everything, and of course that's where they're going to be, that's what they're going to be trying to do, they're aware that they can't do it all at once. And, you know, and so just understand that they do, you know, what they want you to know is that they want to give you something. They want to be able to be there for you and be someone you can lean on. Okay. What really strikes me about this is the Ten of Swords with the Star. If it was just the Ten of Swords or just the Star, it wouldn't be as profound, but both of these cards are the two most vulnerable cards of the deck. Okay. So what's hidden here is just how vulnerable your person is feeling right now. Your person is, no matter how much you are also maybe afraid of being hurt in a situation, your person feels like this could completely destroy them if things don't go the right way. They are terrified of this situation because it's something they really care about. They're really invested in this, okay? And they're aware of that. And part of, you know, we haven't gotten into the motivations yet, okay? And we will go there. But part of the reason why they're feeling like this is because they're aware that how much they care about you and how much power they've given you over them is that you could really bring them down this low, okay? The Star is a little bit more, I suppose, innocent when it comes to that vulnerability, but that vulnerability is still there. The Star comes out right after the Tower, okay, in the story of the Major Arcana. And so the Star represents now that this tower has fallen down. We have somebody who doesn't have any walls up. We have somebody who's vulnerable, somebody who has a lot of hope, and somebody who's looking for a new direction here, okay? So what's hidden right now is just how vulnerable your person is, just how hopeful they are for the future. They do believe the future is going to be better for the two of you. And they do feel like they're receiving some kind of guidance about how to go forward, whether that's spiritual guidance or even maybe guidance from you. They might be kind of checking up on you and social media, that kind of stuff. They do feel like they have some kind of sense of direction here, okay? They just know they have to get through this first before they are able to communicate with you in a way that will feel a lot more comfortable for you, okay? So now that we've looked at that, we're going to go ahead and keep this in mind while also looking at the next part. So we're going to be looking at blocks here, okay? So the blocks here, okay, this is interesting. Soulmate, we have completion, okay, and we have courage. Again, we were talking about just how vulnerable your person feels. Having courage in the face of that much vulnerability is very difficult, especially when the spirits are low. You know, when we were looking at those cards that first came out, just like he or she, sorry, or they, choose your pronoun. Your person's going through a really rough patch right now, and they need to get right with that before they can give you what you deserve in this situation. So it's very difficult to be courageous when a person feels really beat down and when a person feels very vulnerable like that. But it's okay. Because, and then these are also blocks though. We have soulmate, okay? And then we have completion. And I'm going to be very good about reading these cards from now on because I made a mistake in my last video. But yeah, with the soulmate card, it's like they know how serious it is. They know how heavy it is to be in a relationship with you. And when I say heavy, I don't necessarily mean burdensome. I just mean what a big deal it is, okay? They recognize that this is a very, very important, very sacred relationship. Regardless of how they would communicate that, they see it special, okay? And while we do have completion as being shown as possibly a death, we have the way that I'm feeling it coming out is that they feel like they can't be complete without you. They can't say goodbye to you, okay? They can't just walk away. So for those of you who are worried or wondering, is this person just not even going to be in my life? Maybe, you know, that kind of thing. They can't walk away from you. I don't believe that that's where this is going. I believe this is going to be something that will end up coming back together. This kind of energy that your person honors in this relationship, that there's something more there, and that there's something that is almost divine about your relationship. This kind of energy can't be denied by your person if they're aware of it, okay? The issue here though is that these aren't just blocks for your person. This is also kind of blocks for you too. And one part of it is that I really feel this one's especially true for those of you who pick this pile, that you also feel like you can't be complete without this person. So when this person is off working on themselves and they've got these things that they need to process out, it feels really empty, and that feels like a profound abandonment, especially since when we have words like soulmate coming out and things like that, those kinds of feelings get amplified, basically. Soulmate connections typically are very easy, but they also almost always, from my experience, you know, maybe you have better experiences or worse experience, but from my experience, soulmate connections can also be very, very intense. And because of that intensity, it can sometimes take over looking kind of like like a codependent relationship, kind of like the two of you need each other in order to survive. So, you know, while you're feeling this, the best thing to do is find ways to complete yourself while your person's working on themselves, because they are going to be coming back and talking to you. Okay. I've not gotten anything to kind of indicate that maybe there's a split. Not at all. Okay. So the next aspect of this is we're going to be looking at any kind of extra information here when we talk about this. Okay, yeah. So this is a very, very special deck to me, this one right here. That and I picked a couple of cards for each of the piles. It's called the Druid Craft Tarot. And anyway, this card is typically talking about temperance, okay? So the next step forward for both of you is going to require giving a little bit of on both sides, okay? It's going to be a group effort. It's not going to just be one person takes the lead or the other person takes the lead. Understand that your thoughts about this person are somehow reaching them in some way. I cannot explain, I'm not going to spend, your reading time explaining telepathy because I can't, I really couldn't. I could talk for an hour about it and never really reach a conclusion about it. What I can say is that sending messages out to your person does work. I can say that. I've had experience of that, and I've had experience with other people doing that. And it seems like whatever you're broadcasting right now in your mind about how you're feeling, how you're thinking, and all of that, whatever you're broadcasting, make sure it's pure, make sure that it's full of love, make sure it's full of positivity, And when you're mulling about this and thinking about your person and you don't want that stuff, to be broadcast, it's like maybe you're kind of feeling down and you're thinking some maybe more negative things, or maybe you're trying to process things and you haven't really arrived to a conclusion. Imagine there being like a wall up in between your thoughts and the rest of the world, or surround yourself with light around yourself so that won't permeate through, okay? When you're thinking about your person, know that they're very sensitive to your emotional and psychological mood right now on some level that can't be explained. Also understand that timing is very important here. So when we look at the timing, we're going to be able to see exactly why that's important and all of that, but the timing is definitely very important. Another thing, we've got hands here, and I just feel like this is a situation where it's like, when I think about hands, I think about being open to receive and that kind of stuff, but I also think about unity, and I think about like unity and peace and healing, like we heal with our hands, right? And art, creativity. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of element of healing in your relationship as well. We have this doll sitting here, so I also feel that there's going to be something new happening between the two of you. And again, we've got these cloudy skies here, so we do have the awareness that this is something that is still a little bit, it's going to feel yucky for a little while, basically, is what I'm trying to say. That's not to mean that it's always going to feel that way, but that's the way it is right now. Now, in the Nine of Pentacles, in this particular card, something that's different about this card versus the other, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it if I hold it up, but there's clouds in this one too, which I think is kind of interesting because the Nine of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite Tarot is typically a very bright yellow light, no clouds, right? I feel like even when your person is having their free time, they're still feeling cloudy. Like it's like they can't even have any kind of free time or any kind of. It's like their whole world is just permeated by whatever is, or it's being eclipsed by these negative feelings and this stuff that they're dealing with. Okay. One thing about the Ferret, okay, is that we have a rainbow in the background there. I feel like this is a promise that with enough, with the right time, that this is going to end up becoming a lot better. The clouds will clear and things will get a lot better, okay? I feel like this is still a positive message. It's just you've got to go through some negativity first, or you've got to go through some things that are less pleasant before you can get there, okay? So the timing here. Okay, so we have... Okay, yeah, we have the number 7, so this could be 7 days or 7 weeks. I would actually, you know what, I'm not going to say. I was going to say I would lean more towards, and then I just got a big blank. So I'm not going to say some of you it's going to be 7 days, some of you it's going to be 7 weeks, and then you know the advice here is determining the circumstances. Okay, so try to figure out what got you guys to this place. Wherever it is in your communication, and then know that 7 days or 7 weeks from now, things are going to start moving a lot better. They're going to be up. Okay. And then the second card we get is Gemini. Okay. And so this is in between late May to early June. All right. And this says 3 weeks or 3 months. Okay, so some of you are going to be waiting all the way up until late May or June before you hear from this person. But I'm not here to tell you, you know, oh yeah, 3 days and everything's going to be great. I mean, it's going to take a while for some of you. For some of you, the longest you're going to have to wait is June. And understand, waiting doesn't mean that you have to just sit there and do nothing else, okay? When you wait, you can fill that time with all sorts of stuff for yourself as well, okay? For some of you, it's going to be 3 weeks. That's kind of already covered with the 7 weeks. For some of you, it's going to be 3 months. Let's see. So when this comes up, when this video goes up, that would mean right around May, because this is going to be going up in February, so that makes sense. But regardless of what time you're watching this, at any point, you're looking at 3 weeks, 3 months, late May to late May to late June, or in 7 days or 7 weeks. And I understand that's a lot of different time frames, right? But we're talking, this is a public reading. This is not gonna, if you want to get a private reading with me, I can get more specific for each person. But because this is a public reading, I can only provide so much, and feel like I'm being ethical doing it, right? So that said, it just looks like there's going to be a long wait. Okay, and that's it. Your person feels for you. They care for you. They want to provide for you. They want you to be happy. They want you feeling good. Okay, it's just they've just got a lot to work through. And something I feel is important to say about this too is that it's on them to work through it. It's not on you, okay? So don't feel like you've done anything to cause this, okay? Maybe there might be circumstances involved that maybe you did or said something you maybe wouldn't have done otherwise, but really this is more your person than you, okay? So please keep that in mind. Hi, those of you who picked the green mandala, here is your reading. Okay, so just want to shuffle this on camera a couple of times so you know that it really is shuffled here. All right, so what do they want to say to you? Okay, so right now they're feeling like things just weren't very fair. Things weren't fair between the two of you somehow. And they were trying to make something happen, something good, something great for the two of you. But they still want to nurture the relationship. They still want that to happen. They just don't know, they don't know really what to do. Also, this is a big deal. What they have to say to you is a big deal. I feel like when we get to the time frame cards, that we're going to be seeing shorter time frames than longer ones. Okay, so what they want to say to you is there's something about this situation that feels unfair. They're trying to make things happen with you, positive things, but just because that happened doesn't mean that they don't want to still nurture the relationship. They want to make sure that the relationship's good. This could also be a situation for some of you where your person is just thinking about how they want to make things happen, make good things happen and all of that, and they're kind of stumbling over themselves as they're trying to get things going well. Okay, so what would they want to hear from you? they want to hear that you feel passion about them, that you're not bored with them, that you're not, they feel like you've put out this kind of energy that you're maybe not as interested in them, and maybe you're doing that as a way to not look like you're so forward. I mean, I see that a lot in relationship readings. So that's why I say that. I'm not saying that that's necessarily true. It's just, this is what they're getting from you, and this is what they want to hear, is that you're not bored. What they want to hear is that you're not going to walk away. They want some passion. They want some kind of gesture to let them know that you're just crazy about them. They want, it's almost like maybe you might be on one hand like, I don't want to come across as too weird, but they're like, no, please be weird. It'll help me feel better, that kind of thing. So it feels very, it almost feels playful, but I mean, at the same time, I recognize they are worried that maybe you're not as interested in them, and they want to know that. They want to get that reinforcement, okay? And then what's still hidden, what they're kind of sitting on right now. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. So what they're sitting on, they're still trying to make themselves. They're still trying to make themselves into the kind of person that can give you as much as you can basically take. They want to make sure that they're able to provide for you, that they're able to be a complete person for you, and that you guys are able to have a positive relationship. They don't want this to fail, not at all. What they're not getting from you, though, and because of this, they're kind of getting into that kind of negative thing that where they're just kind of thinking in circular logic and kind of getting, stuck in it and everything. They're not hearing enough positive feedback from you, and because of that, they're listening to their own, I suppose, inner feedback, okay? And sometimes that inner feedback can be very, very critical. And sometimes, it's not so bad. It just depends on basically the way that your person internalizes the way that he or she or they are experiencing you. What I can say about this, just straight off the bat, is, make sure that you are giving them feedback that's accurate so that they are able to kind of, at least if they're going to be making up how you might think about them in their minds while they're thinking about you, it would help to also be like, oh, but my person also told me that I was doing a good job, or they told me that I helped them to be happier, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, make sure that you're giving them some positive feedback, or some at least honest feedback so that they're aware of the dynamics there. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of hidden from you that they haven't told you. So far this is pretty good. Okay. So what are the biggest blocks here? Okay. Oh, how interesting. We have health, we have recovery, and then we have quest. Huh. So maybe your person's been kind of sick or feeling under the weather. Maybe somebody they know has been feeling sick or under the weather, but it's like they're trying to, there's something having to do with the physical, literally the physical body that they need to get help with there. So I feel like maybe for example, they might be really stressed. They might really have like some kind of physical ailment. If the time this goes up, we're in flu season, and we still have COVID going around and all of that kind of stuff. But regardless of the time that you watch this, your person might have recently had a health issue, okay? Or if it's not them, they're helping somebody else with their health issue. It would be like a family member, a very close friend. So kind of keep that in mind. They're trying to recover from something, basically. And I do feel that this is very literal as far as like the physical body. It's not, for example, I'm not getting that it's mental health. I'm not getting that it's something like that. If it is a mental health thing, it would be more like addiction, something that would affect the physical body by a lot. I understand mind and body are connected. I get that. I'm not saying that it's not, but it's just, I feel like this is such a physical feeling for me that I feel like it's really about the body. And then this quest thing here, this is kind of interesting. It's like they're still searching for exactly, who they are as a person. And we kind of got that in the last cards when we were looking at the Pentacles card, see if I can find it over here. But yeah, we were looking at the Pentacles card as coming through as something that was kind of hidden here. And it's like they're going on a quest. They want to become this. They want to become this person. They want to be this person that can give you everything that they could possibly give you. They want to be a whole person. And so I feel like this is more an internal quest, but it's like they're doing some soul searching. Okay, so that's basically, these are any kind of blocks. This is what's getting in the way for them of communicating clearly with you. So some extra information. Okay, so we have the Tower. Okay, followed by the King of Cups. And we have, okay, all right, this helps. All right, so, wow, we've got a lot of information here. I do want to mention this is a Druidcraft Tarot. It's very special to me. The art is stunning. It really is. This is a very, very personal deck for me, so I just wanted to mention that because I really love it. So yeah, the Tower. It's the way that it's coming through is like, I feel like they're anticipating that something really bad could happen. And the way it's coming through as well is that it's not really coming from you. It's not coming from you or the relationship, but they're worried. And it could be that maybe they're worried that one of their loved ones isn't going to make a recovery. It could be something more like they're afraid that some other aspect of their life is going to kind of tumble down. And regardless, it's something that's kind of looming in the shadow. I'm not actually getting that this is going to definitely happen. It feels blurry, and it's a really strange feeling to get from a major arcana, okay? Because normally the major arcana cards are like, bam, this is going to happen. But no, it doesn't feel that way. It feels blurry. It feels like this is lurking, like this is one possibility, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be what's happening. This is what's worrying them, though. This is definitely affecting the way that they can communicate to you, because they've got this thing on their mind. Now, the King of Cups is a really great card to get, especially when we're talking about communication, because this is somebody who wants to communicate how they're feeling. And not only do they want to communicate how they're feeling with the cups, but also because it's a masculine way of communicating feeling, there's something about it that makes a sort of sense, And not to say that the Queen of Cups isn't good, it's just that the masculine energy surrounding this is like, it's a very forward thing. It's a very, it might even feel a little aggressive, but but I don't mean it's negative or it's anger that they're feeling. It's more that they want to share just how much they care about you, okay? And so understand that when you communicate next, that's what's going on. So this card is showing me a lot. They're trying to put on a good face for you, okay? And for those of you who aren't in communication with your person, they're trying to put on a good face for the world. They don't want people to know that they're basically feeling like this inside, like this Tower, okay? There are a lot of layers to your person. It's almost like once you learn something about them and you feel like, okay, I totally know this person, another layer shows up and it's like, oh, wow. It's like, I feel like this person's, like their persona, their personality, what makes them who they are just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. It's almost like a lot of people wouldn't even be able to fathom this kind of person. And it's very fortunate that you are able to get them. And that is such a connecting thing for a person like this. It's just so, it helps them so much. The only problem here, though, with this person is that miscommunication can happen a lot. And so they're used to people not understanding them. And even if you have more insight into them than the average person, because you get them on some kind of level, because I'm definitely getting that this isn't necessarily a problem for you, but it has been a problem for your person. Sometimes they'll go back and they'll assume that you won't understand something about them. this is just about being a creature of habit. We are all creatures of habit. I'm sure you can think of some things that you've done over and over and over again that maybe don't make sense, or, or maybe that, you wish you could just kind of cut out that habit or whatever. This is just one of your person's habits. They've got to grow used to the idea that you are going to see them for who they are. So understand that too. But this has a lot to do with, we've got masks in this, and I don't feel like the mask is meant to deceive. It feels like the mask is meant to, as a coping mechanism, so that they don't have to constantly be expressing this to every single person they see, and that their layers, the different layers of who they are, it's like they want to take off the mask, but only for people who are really, really special for them. And they've been able to do that with you. Okay. So understand that the way they act publicly, or the way they act to other people, is going to be different from the way they act to you. So for example, if you're out of communication with this person and you're maybe checking up on their social media, trying to get some pieces of information about how they're doing and everything, know that you're going to be getting a little bit of a distorted view there, because they don't want to appear less strong than they are. Because again, part of this tower moment that they're worried about is that it could happen, and by even voicing the concern that it could happen, it's like it's almost like they're worried that they could bring it about. Okay, so when we talk about timing, okay, so this is pretty short. Now, maybe it won't sound short to you, but I mean, it's very short to me. For those of you who this person is going to get a hold of you in a matter of days, this is going to be 5 to 11 days. They're going to be reaching out to you, okay? For those of you who it's going to take a little bit longer, it's going to be 5 to 11 weeks, okay? So overall, when I'm thinking about that, that's less than 3 months. That's pretty good. If you're out of communication with your person, that's pretty good. Because I know that sometimes I've gone through times where I haven't had communication with my friends, and there was nothing about them or nothing that even happened between us that caused the communication to go away. It was just we got busy, and it's 3 weeks, or I'm sorry, 3 months, with 11 weeks, just under 3 months. That's not so bad, But, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, it's going to be 3 days or whatever. No, I mean, this is what I'm getting, 5 days to 11 days. For those of you who it's going to happen more quickly. For those of you it's going to happen more slowly, it's going to be 5 to 11 weeks. So if you haven't heard from your person in 11 days, just know that you can kind of sit back and know that they're going through something that they need to heal from, or there's somebody that they're concerned about needs to heal from, and you'll be able to hear from them between 5 and 11 weeks from now. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed this, I post pick a card readings regularly, 3 times a week at least, and I would love more subscriptions. If you would like to subscribe to me. If not, that's fine. Leave a comment, and again, thank you. I really appreciate it. All right, those of you who picked the brown mandala, here is your reading. Okay, so these are pre-shuffled, but I am going to shuffle it in front of you so that you understand that I'm not making this up. I'm actually, yeah, just going to sit here and cut the deck a little bit. Got some extra information. That's cool. All right, so what do they want to say to you? All right, this is what they would want to say to you. Oh, wow. Ooh, this is good. Whew. I'm sorry. That pile just kind of wanted to end on the action. Nope. You're for a different people. Okay, so wow, this is really amazing, okay? Because we have 2 major arcana cards, and we have the Queen of Pentacles. So we have a really strong, I just feel like this is such a strong message that they want to send to you. So on one hand, they want to make things okay. They feel like there was something that happened that was wrong, and they want to make it okay, or they want to let you know that if there's something that you feel was maybe not so great about what's happened in the past, it's okay now. Just understand that, okay? They know that this is a very, very important relationship. I feel so much, sometimes we'll see cards and they'll be very highly charged, right? The Lovers is a very charged card, okay? So it's kind of difficult to look at it and not like immediately go, oh my goodness, that's great. But I'm feeling like inside of myself, like in my heart, and in my and where my intuition comes from, wherever that is, that this is a very, this person, it's like a aha moment for them, that they're realizing they might not even have been able to admit this to themselves until recently, but it's like they're in love with you. They want you to know that in the same way that you feel that they're your person, they feel like you're their person. And this is kind of a surprise for them, because, and I'm saying that because I feel surprised in the intensity of this. Okay, and then we've got the Queen of Pentacles saying, they want to take care of you, but not just in the role of being a provider or being, someone you can depend on, but they also want to take care of you emotionally as well, which is, it's like, this is just so pretty. It's so beautiful. So let's see what they'd like to hear from you. Okay, so we've got the Queen of Wands. Oh, the High Priestess. Okay, and the Nine of Swords. This is an interesting thing that they want to hear from you, but I'm just going to go with it, okay? So they want to know, see, this card kind of came up on top of the Lovers. They want to know what your feeling of the situation is. It's almost like they'd feel better if they knew that you feel also that this relationship's a very important one, okay? And that it's a big deal, and that there's something that transcends just the physical body and the physical plane that has to do with your relationship, okay? The Queen of Wands, they want to see you passionate about them. They want to see you caring so much about them. They want to see you being creative. It's almost like they want to be your muse, all right? So that's another thing. They also feel like they want to hear some warmth coming from you, that you're not completely cold and closed off to them, that you have warmth in your heart for them. And they're also wondering, like, they've been feeling like you have been, and again, this is their impression of you, okay? Not necessarily how it is, but what they think. They think that you, at least you come across as being very strong, but it's almost like they wonder, does this person, each one of you in my audience, does this person, when I think about this person, are they as afraid as I am? Do they have thoughts that sometimes, do they ever sometimes doubt? Do they ever sometimes worry that this isn't going to happen? It's almost like they want to share in their anxiety about the situation with you, and they want to hear from you that maybe you're not as strong as you appear. It's almost like they want some vulnerability from you, but it seems like that vulnerability would only make them feel like relieved that it's not just them. Because I think that a part of them is kind of thinking, is it just me that feels like basically crazy because I can't get this person out of my head? That kind of thing. Remember, the swords represent thoughts, typically ideas and all of that kind of stuff. So this person, is just woken up and they're upset, they've been thinking about something over and over again, and those thoughts have upset them. They want to know, like, gosh, do they also feel that way? And so they're wondering that too, okay? So this is still what's hidden, or basically what your person's still sitting on, okay? So we've got the Five of Wands, we've got the Eight of Pentacles, and we have the Knight of Wands. Okay, so basically they're a little bit apprehensive that the two of you might be just the kind of people that bicker a lot, and they don't like that. I mean, it's fine as long as it's kind of playful and you're having fun, but they want to avoid that kind of stuff. They want to avoid being surprised with some kind of, high emotional situation that isn't, real serious, basically. In other words, they would rather hear something like, I love you, I care about you so much, I was thinking about you so much, than to hear some kind of thing that you could say to maybe try to get attention, or try to like shock them, or try to get them to react, that kind of thing. So be very authentic about the way that you're expressing yourself. Another thing that they've been thinking about a lot, and they don't know if they're going to tell you about it or not, because they do feel responsible for this. They don't feel like it's your responsibility, but they feel like something about being around you distracts them from getting some of their other work done. And they have to get that other stuff done as well. And so they're a little bit concerned about that. So it might be something that you want to bring up with them, but just know that this is just kind of in the back of their minds, like, should I say something or should I not? They're not feeling uncomfortable enough for this to be a big deal, enough of a big deal to talk to you about it, but it is something that they're concerned about. Okay, and so your little bonus card here is the 8 of Swords, which, that makes a lot of sense with this 9 of Swords here. I feel like this is kind of the energy around your whole relationship right now, or it has been. And that is, you guys think yourselves into circles, and then you get kind of locked in on a certain perspective, and it's all really a result of negative thinking. So basically what this card's telling us is, or warning us about, is just that understand that when you are by yourself thinking about this and thinking about what different things could mean, understand that you're limited in your ability to get that information from your person. And the more heavy, the more negative the thoughts are, for whatever reason, humans feel that if an emotion is heavy, if an emotion is negative, for some reason it feels more real to them than the lighter, more positive, thoughts. So understand that you might be prone to thinking of a worst case scenario, or to catastrophize, that kind of stuff. So understand that the energy surrounding this is basically saying, don't do that. Don't assume what your person's feeling or thinking, or that don't assume the worst, basically. It can be a good thing if you want to make sure that you're prepared for heartache and that kind of thing. But with energy like the Lovers like this and everything, you don't have that to worry about in this relationship. This relationship's secure. It might be going through a major moment right now, but this relationship's secure. So all of this is kind of like you're stepping on your own feet. And understand your person does this too, okay? So this isn't just something that's on your end. It's also on your person's end. So kind of keep that in mind as well. And that can sometimes color how easy it is for them to communicate with you, all right? Okay, so now that we're done with that part, we're going to be looking at blocks, okay? Okay, so we have trickery, we have discovery, and then we have fear. Okay, so I think that the fear card kind of ties in a lot with that 8 of Swords that we just talked about. I'm very careful about reading these correctly, as I made a mistake with my last video and I misread one of the cards. So yeah, we have trickery and discovery. I feel like these go together. I feel like somebody thought, and maybe it was you or maybe it was them or both, somebody thought they were being tricked, or maybe that there was something just weird going on between the two of you. But it was then discovered that no, everything's fine. The heart's pure. There wasn't actually anything there. it's almost like a matter of pride though about admitting that. Okay, so if it's on your end and you're feeling a little bit prideful and you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I see, so it was really that. Well, I don't really want to, you don't really want to say it or whatever. Just understand that if you don't feel like saying it, that's fine, but just know that you've got to treat your person as if they're coming from a good place, okay? Because they are. This isn't going on. If there's any kind of trickery at all, it would be you guys tricking yourselves into thinking things are worse than it is, okay? Because, and I don't even feel like it's bad, but it just feels like, the trickery is more self-deception than it is somebody else, like your person deceiving you or you deceiving your person. Kind of keep that in mind. Be really diligent about discovering the truth there if this is something that really bothers you. Because this has become a block in your communication. And if you and this person are out of communication, this might be right here, the area that brings the two of you back, okay? There's also a lot of fear here. I think that was already covered a lot in the first part of this, but I think that sometimes both of you will get in your own way because this is such an important relationship for both of you that you don't want to mess up. That's very human. That's natural. Just be aware that it's there. The more you help your person feel more courageous, the better they are at helping you feel more courageous. So it is one of those kind of mirroring situations where if you start taking care of your person's fears, they'll start taking care of yours. All right? Okay. So let's get some advice on how to handle that. Okay, so, interesting. So we have Kronos. It's kind of interesting because we had the Lovers and now we have Kronos. This is the Devil card, okay, in this particular deck. This is a very special deck to me, and it's called the Druidcraft Tarot. And it's just really special to me. And then we've got the Two of Wands, followed by this card. Ooh, okay. All right, so it's interesting here how this comes up, because I feel like this is kind of like giving in to the more animalistic side. It's like, I mean, if it's any time, it's like the two of you need to just be passionate with one another. There's probably some tension going on that has to do with passion, probably physical passion, or with that desire, okay? Be aware of that. That can really mess with some communication. If it's going to depend on the relationship. For some of you, this is just going to be something you've got to keep in the back of your mind. You've just got to know that there is some tension there, and unless this kind of thing is going to happen, that tension's going to kind of make both of you a little bit more irritable, okay? For those of you who feel like you are more comfortable communicating with your person, you might want to just acknowledge that there's tension there. And you might want to go on to say whether you're okay with or not okay with, being intimate and that kind of stuff, okay? That's my best advice here. With the Two of Wands here, we've got basically somebody passing from one state to another. This is somebody who wants to become more aware of everything in their environment. In a traditional tarot, this typically is depicted as somebody who wants to become more worldly and more explorative. But in this deck, it's more about exploring. It's more about exploring the truth in the situation. Okay, so one piece of advice to you that I can give is making sure that things are as honest as possible. Like if your person says something, without telling them, oh, I don't believe you, you might want to say, oh, is that true? Wow, that kind of thing. And if they they might have kind of slipped up and maybe exaggerated or something like that, then they can correct you at that point. Or another thing is that maybe you know, when you're communicating with them, make sure that you let them know that, you know, you might maybe use hyperbole and exaggerate a lot, and make sure that you're saying, well, what I really mean is that, you know, and make sure that you're being very clear about what is true and what's not. You know, I'm not getting deception with this. I'm getting more like being more authentic and being more clear in your communication. And as far as this stuff goes, this is just what's going on in the background that can explain some of the awkward experiences with the communication here. So I feel like this card is really letting us know, gosh, just how much your person reflects about you, how much they think about you. Understand that your person sometimes takes on your problems as their own, and this can sometimes end up really distracting from what they need to get done. You know, we kind of mentioned that earlier. And they want to hold you up, though. They want to make sure that you're okay first. It's almost like they can't do anything. They can't work. They can't think as long as if there's something wrong going on with you. They want to make sure everything's good. So there's that. And then there's also this just, it's not just that they want to take care of you, but they also want to give to you a lot of romantic experiences, but they haven't been able, I feel like, especially for this group, your person has not been able to make those gestures as openly as maybe the other groups, okay? But it's like they want to, though, okay? And that's a major aspect of communication. Now, when we've got this and we've got the romance stuff going on, know that they, I feel like a really important aspect of this card is just letting you know that they think about you a lot more, or they put a lot more weight on you than you might think, okay? So, oh, how interesting. We have the Alpha and Omega. This card deck is so specific when it comes to time frames that I'm actually amazed that these two cards came up as being the answers, because they're the two most, well, maybe not this one. They're pretty vague. We've got Alpha and Omega. You are free in the choice of the moment. Now, these cards are called the cards of time, and I'm going to show them to you here. All right, this is a box. Okay, you can get them on eBay, I believe. I don't know if they still print them, but that's where I got them. Okay, the cards of time. And each one of them will give some time frames, right? This is the one card, I even forgot that this one existed until I turned it over. This is the one card that's kind of like, you know, this can happen at any given point. And you're in control here. You can make this communication happen if you want to, okay? I'm not saying that you have to do something. No. What I'm saying is that you have more control in this than you might think. If you're sitting on things and wondering, well, should I reach out to them? This is your go ahead and reach out to them card, okay? Because it's like, it's saying you're free in the choice of the moment. You can choose what happens next, okay? And then we also have Sunday, go inwards and develop a vision. So, you know, it feels a little risky saying this, but I believe that what this means is whenever you watch this video the following Sunday, you'll be hearing from them by then. One thing that I can say, though, is that, you know, we have the one, it could be a week. You know, I'm not getting that that's 1 year. I'm getting it's a week. You know, this is something that it says go inward and develop a vision. You know, with the powerful symbols that we're getting with the lovers and things like that, I really feel like this reading is telling us that this is really about your own personal reflection. And when you're ready to come forward, either your person's going to meet you by coming forward themselves, or this is what they're doing and they're going to make that choice, okay? I didn't anticipate getting such a vague answer, but again, Sunday, a week from now, and if your person hasn't gotten a hold of you by then, that's your clue that maybe there's something that you need to do. Maybe you're the one that needs to take action. And again, I just want to mention, you know, especially as a woman, I understand that sometimes it feels uncomfortable or wrong to take that initiative, or maybe we're in a situation where it's like, well, I've reached out to them a couple of times and maybe they haven't gotten a hold of me, and so I don't want to. Just know that the time is a little bit more auspicious now, and if they are going to reach back out, now's the time to reach forward, okay? So my advice as far as with the timing goes is, you know, wait till Sunday, wait a week. If they still haven't gotten a hold of you by then reach out to them yourself again, okay? All right, guys. This has been, you know, I have 3 more readings to do, but this has been a very, very sweet reading. It feels really, really genuine. I just really like that about that reading. I hope you guys liked it, and of course, you know, I post videos every 3 times a week at least. So if you want to subscribe, go ahead and do that. Just thank you for watching this. Hi, those of you who picked the Plaid pile, here is your reading. Okay, so we are going to start with the tarot. I'm going to shuffle it just a little bit here on camera so you know that I didn't rig anything. All right. Okay, so what they want to say to you. All right, okay, so what they want to say to you is right now they're kind of at an impasse. They aren't willing right now to really look at anything in their heart. They're not really willing to look at anything in their intuition, with anything in the unconscious. They're really stuck right now in a place where they want to do whatever is easiest, and for whatever reason, what's easiest for them is to not say something. Okay, I can tell you that in my own life, I've had this energy happen to me personally. It was when I was in a really bad mood, really cranky, and I could not talk to this person until I was feeling better. Me being cranky had nothing to do with them, but I knew that I could not be a civil person, basically, and so I just kind of shut myself down. Now the problem that I made was that I did not alert my friend that I needed to do that and give them more information about it. But for about, we were close enough that we were talking constantly. So for about a day and a half, I didn't talk to this person, and it caused a commotion. Whether this has been going on for a long time or not, just know your person is not in a place mentally where they can even begin to think about their emotions and anything that is, it's like they're turning away from any kind of growth right now. They really just need to, it's like they have to deal with the immediate, what's immediate in their lives. And they're afraid that if they don't deal with whatever it is that they have to deal with, that they're going to make things worse. Okay, so what they would have to tell you right now is that they don't have anything to say. They don't have anything to say that's going to be constructive right now. They don't have anything to say that's going to be helpful. Okay, so their message to you is more that they're not in a place right now where they can talk to you in a healthy way. Okay, or in a constructive way. That's, you know, these 2 cards are coming up because this person does have feelings. This person does probably dreams about you, probably has a lot of instances where they're feeling really intuitive and really connected to you and that kind of stuff. But just right now, they're kind of a little unplugged from that. Okay, so what they would want to hear from you right now Okay, is that you're willing to start over, which is kind of an interesting one. For those of you who you have not been in a relationship or a major relationship with this person yet, they want something to start. Okay, and then I'm also getting that the Page of Pentacles is like they want you to offer your idea of what this relationship could look like. They want to know where they stand with you, basically. And they also, they're not interested in hearing things that are maybe what you think they want to know. They want to know your truth. They want to know what's real. So if you, for example, and this is something that people do. You know, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you or wrong with people that do this or anything. It's just that your person is at a place right now where they don't need any exaggerations. They don't need to be impressed, basically, or anything like that. They just want to know what you're thinking, how you're feeling, or anything like that. So basically, don't put on any airs. Don't act like, you know, try to make yourself sound more interesting than you are or more cool than you are, because they're interested in you. And kind of think about it this way. If you are that kind of person that, you know, this might be an issue for you, you only want your person. You don't want somebody that your person's not. And the way they feel about you is that they want the real you, okay? But they definitely would like to hear something from you that lets them know that you have an idea of what you want, and that you want them in your future, and that you're willing to start, you know, like if you need to, you're willing to start over with this person, okay? So what's currently hidden? Okay, wow, these are some pretty important cards here. What's currently hidden here is your person's really interested in you. It's not being conveyed in any way. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you're telling me, no. This person could be the least interested right now. But no, they're very interested in you. They're trying, you know, when we just go back to putting on airs here with the Justice, you know, in reverse, you know, it's like they're trying to pretend like they're not as affected by you as they are. Okay, with the Hierophant in the reverse, it kind of letting me know that there's kind of a block there when it comes to the lessons that you guys can learn by being around one another. It's imposed by them, though, and this block is basically the tension that creates the final, like that final moment when your person does come forward, okay? The Lovers is very self-explanatory. If it's not obvious, it's like something that's hidden from the two of you is that the two of you are going to end up together in some way. You guys are going to end up being together in some way. And the way it feels is that it feels like it's romantic, okay? So for those of you who are asking a question about somebody where it's not a romantic question, just know that this is some kind of partnership. You're going to be working together towards something. But, you know, as a love reading, this is like you guys are going to become an item, okay? And you guys are headed towards that. If you're already in a relationship with this person, and it, you know, this is just talking about moving to that next step, okay? But yeah, your person's plugged in. It might not be, you might not be aware of it, and they might not be facing that right now, but this is kind of what both of you guys need to know about the situation. So let's go ahead and see what the biggest blocks are here. Okay, so we're going to look at blocks. So mysticism, that's interesting. Renewal and patience. Oh goodness, patience can be an issue. Yeah, patience is all about how it's just not the right time right now. Okay, that doesn't mean it's never going to be the right time. It just means that right now it's not the right time for the two of you to come together. Okay, and that's all that means. All right. Know that patience doesn't necessarily mean that you have to wait, though. Patience just means that there's something else for you that's more important for you to focus on, okay? And that's going to be different for each one of you. Mysticism is being a obstacle. Sometimes a person can get so caught up with what they're experiencing on a spiritual level that it can be difficult to actually bring that into the physical world. So it's almost like Something similar is if somebody is constantly spending their time fantasizing about something but not making it happen, right? And this is a little bit different. When mysticism comes up as a block, it's letting us know that whatever the intuition is here on both of your sides, okay, being aware that this is going to happen, being aware that this is imminent, basically, on both sides, you guys know that this is going to happen. Somehow you guys know that it's almost like it's meant to come together and that kind of stuff. That's a block because it keeps it in the realm of non-action, basically. It doesn't, knowing that, being aware of your intuition doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to actually take steps to bring that about. So understand that you've got to still do things in order to help not only your person come down and be able to meet you, basically on Earth, right? But also you've got to do things in order to meet them there. And then we've got renewal. It's like, with the card that we got for you with just being willing. I'm looking at the cards that we had before so that I can bring it up. With the Fool card, with this coming up and just showing that it's like they want a fresh start and that kind of stuff. This renewal card, I feel like it's coming up as a block because there's been some kind of resistance to having a fresh start or starting something new. There's been some kind of resistance, maybe even on both ends when it comes to that. So be aware that this is what can get in the way sometimes of clear communication. And then patience, when it comes to a block of communication, it's just knowing when to say things. There are certain appropriate times to say things. I really feel like this is about being aware enough to really, really listen to one another, okay? But just know that's definitely an issue here when it comes to your communication. All right, so how do we take care of that? All right, so we have the Seven of Pentacles and we have the Five of Pentacles. All right. So the way that we take care of this is that we don't neglect each other when you're talking about how, you are probably really wanting to talk about how you're feeling and what's going on with you and that kind of stuff. And you probably also really want to know how your person's feeling. Make sure that it's reciprocal. Make sure that for everything that your person asks you, that you're, not only are you giving them answers to that question, but also ask them the same things. Make sure that you are, that you're showing an active interest in what's going on with them. If you don't know what kind of things to ask or to talk about, a lot of people like to talk about their past, and that will really glue people together. So if you don't know how to bring them in to a conversation, you might want to ask them if they played sports when they were younger, or what their favorite subject was in school, or if they had a particular teacher that they really liked, or if what their first pet was and what the name of that pet was, that kind of stuff. People like to talk about those kinds of times, and it's also usually is uplifting because because typically when we're children, we have obviously less responsibilities and all of that. Not all of us are fortunate to have a positive childhood experience, but typically people like to talk about that, and that can be a way to bring your person into a conversation. The Seven of Pentacles is also letting me know, it's kind of like the same answer, but it's on a different level. It's just make sure that you're helping each other out. Sometimes both of you feel like your needs are either being neglected or they're not being met, or it feels like just one or the other of you is holding up the relationship. Make sure that you're helping your person, but also make sure that they know that you'd like some help when you feel like you're doing all the work. Okay, so yeah, that'll definitely help the communication flow freer. Something that strikes me about this is that the communication really wants to happen. So it's not about, this isn't about them not wanting to talk to you. It's more about them not having anything to say right now because they have to deal with whatever it is they're dealing with, or not having anything major to say. Your person might actually, if you're not in communication, your person might actually feel like they can't speak to you right now because they don't have anything that they think would interest you to say. So kind of keep that in mind. But the communication definitely wants to happen. It wants to happen quickly. Another thing about this, especially with this particular symbol right here, it feels like it needs to be really authentic. It needs to be real, between the two of you and that kind of stuff. So that is the advice I'm getting for you guys. As far as the timing goes, so we have 8, it could be 8 weeks or 8 months, and we also have, either 11 weeks or 11 months. So this is a long time, for you guys. It feels to me that, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking, because I feel like for some of you this is going to be like Aquarius energy, and I understand we're already in Aquarius and all of that. So I'm just kind of thinking, what does that have to really do with anything? It could be that your person's already talking to you, but it's just they won't have anything major to say to you for another 8 to 11 weeks. It's very difficult for me to believe that it's going to take a matter of months for the two of you to talk. But for those of you, the longest you're going to be waiting is 11 months. That seems excessive to me. It's going to be up to you about whether or not you want to wait that long. Regardless of what time you're watching this, whether you're watching it the day that it goes up or not, and be aware of the times like in Scorpio and the times in Aquarius, because that might also be an indicator of when this will happen. 8 to 11 weeks, we're talking about 2 to 3 months as far as, where you guys are right now with communication, when it's going to uplift, I really, really don't feel like the months is going to, it just doesn't feel that heavy to me. It doesn't feel like it's going to last that long. But, I am getting these cards, so I do want to make sure that you understand that it could be that long. All right, guys? Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Even though those time frames are a long way off, it does look like, things are still good though. The two of you definitely have a lot to glue the two of you together. So keep that in mind, definitely. All right. Hi. Those of you who picked the white mandala, here is your reading. I'm going to shuffle this on screen so that you know that the deck isn't rigged in any way. All right, so what do they want to say to you? Okay, wow. We've got 3 major arcana cards. So what they want to say to you right now is that they're still a little bit afraid to come forward completely with their emotions, but they are willing to come forward a little bit, okay? This would be the person that would be more likely to talk to you about this, like in the middle of the night, that kind of thing. Whether or not you and your person are night owls or not, it seems like this person feels the most confessional at night, okay? Keep that in mind. With justice, we talk about truth, basically. And so I feel like they just want to make sure. One reason why they might not be able to come forward completely with their emotions is just that they're not quite certain how they're feeling yet, and they want to make sure that what they say is a representation of the truth. And then another thing that they want to tell you right now is that sometimes things go really, really well for you guys, and sometimes it's just not really going so well, and that there is a cycle there, and they want you to be aware that that cycle is happening right now. So if you are in a point where the communication is really not doing much, understand it's going to come back around, okay? It's almost like they want to reassure you that this is just a phase if they're out of communication with you, okay? All right, so what they would like to hear from you. Wow. This is some pretty heavy stuff too. They want to know from you basically how you want to bring this about. Like, they want to know your ideas on this relationship and how you want to make it happen. They want to know what your biggest desires are, what you want, how you want to live your life, basically. I feel like this is almost like they want to know more about your hopes and dreams and goals and all of those kinds of things, so they can find out if they want to start something with you or not. Especially for those of you who haven't been in a relationship very long or haven't been in a relationship yet with this person, okay? But this person's just kind of trying to get a sense from you about where you want this to go. Okay, and they want to know where they stand with you. They also want to know if this can go somewhere. So I kind of feel like your person's a little bit on the fence about whether or not this relationship should be the kind of relationship that you guys maybe like, for example, maybe you would like to have a romantic relationship with this person, and this person wants to have a relationship with you, but they're not certain if they want it to be romantic or just platonic, right? It could be something like that. But they just kind of would like to get more information. Like, they're still collecting information from you to inform their decision of how this goes next, okay? And the best thing I can tell you is, again, with this Justice card coming up, even though that came up for your person, it's very important just to be honest, because if you're not honest, then you're going to end up wasting your time and your person's time, okay? So here's the stuff that's kind of hidden right now from the two of you. Okay, all right, so one thing that's hidden is that you guys are going to be going through a lot of changes soon. Like, there's going to be just a lot of things that's going to stir up both of you in your lives that don't have to do with each other, okay? So kind of keep that in mind. Also understand that both you and your person are a little bit prone to thinking the most negative thing about the other, okay? That kind of cycle needs to stop before you guys can get to a point where your communication is as clear as possible. Because if you're both coming at one another with the idea that possibly the worst possible thing could happen, then you're already on the defense, both of you. And so the communication is more likely to be more aggressive or be more, just less smooth, basically. Okay, and then we have the Six of Pentacles, which lets me know that, you know, there is a balance that wants to be reached here. You know, with the Justice talks about balance, you know, he's got the scale there. And it's like they want to have a balance between the two of you. And that means that they have to put the work in as well as you. And I don't feel like there's so much of a problem with my viewers of you wanting to put the work in, but it's about, you know, how much work does this person want to put in? I would say match their energy. As much work as they're putting in, put in that much work, okay? Especially if you're right now putting in a whole lot of work, because they'll feel that energy drop. They'll feel like if you're doing a whole lot of things and then you stop, they'll feel, even if it's just on an intuitive level, like, whoa, what happened? You know, and they'll immediately want to fill in that gap. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. And that's, I do have to say, even though, you know, we're talking about this card, that's more of a psychology thing than it is so much an intuitive thing, right? But it's still the same principle. Okay, so now that we know that, let's see what things, if anything, is blocking your communication right now. So we've got bittersweet, we've got workaholic, and we have friendship. Okay. Like what I said before, it might just be that right now is not the time for a romantic relationship, and the work needs to be about the friendship itself, and setting those foundations, getting to know one another in a way where there isn't any kind of pressure for either one of you to perform, that kind of thing. Because a part of this feels more like a friendship than a romance at this point, this can end up becoming a block for the two of you when you're communicating, because maybe both of you are attracted to one another, both of you want to be with one another, but there's something going on that can't make that happen. So I would say focus on the friendship first. Okay, the workaholic and the bittersweet here. We've got some things that's like, I feel like in order for your person to be with you, or in order for you to be with your person, there's some kind of sacrifice that needs to be made. So even though it would be wonderful for the two of you to be together, I think both of you acknowledge that would be great. There's something bittersweet about it. There would be something that they'd have to be giving up, or you would. And that's another thing that's blocking communication, and also just blocking the relationship from going forward. I feel like the communication is really tied up with the energy of what the relationship is right now. The workaholic card comes up when a person just really has a lot of stuff to do, like when we're talking about communication, okay? When the person just really has a lot of stuff to do. This could be you, all right? Or it could be your person. I feel like it's more on your person's side, but it's just that they've got things going on that they have to take care of. And because they have to take care of this stuff, maybe they don't have as much time to spend with you, okay? So that's another thing that might be going on that's kind of blocking the ease of communication, all right? Okay, so that said, let's look for advice on what you can do to help communication. All right, wow. Okay. All right, so right now, it might feel kind of like the Two of Swords energy, like there's two ways you guys can go, and it feels like, it really feels like the difference between should we be friends or should we be more, okay? I feel like that, this feeling of not really knowing which way to go is going to be resolved, because you're going to end up here. You're going to end up as the lovers. I'm sorry if that has, I hope it doesn't have, okay, it's okay. But yeah, you're going to end up as the lovers. You're going to end up together, okay? This is where it wants to go, and this is where it will culminate. It will end up with this energy, okay? The two of you will be able to get together. But it's like the advice is like, even though you know that this is going to happen, or even though this is going to happen, keep in mind that it's still not clear to both of you about which way it's going. And that's what's impacting this. For some of you, you might want to admit that you have feelings for the person if you haven't already, because it might really open up communication that way. I'm getting that kind of with a caution of just being aware that this is the inevitability here. So, even though I would recommend open communication, and I would just, frankly, I would recommend that to anybody. But I would also say as well, understand that you've got to work on the friendship first, on that foundation, on building that companionship before you guys can get to this point. Also understand there's a lot of new beginnings going on here. This card is a very sensual card, but it's also a card that talks about things coming, like it talks about growth, it talks about new things, it talks about, let me see here, it also talks about things coming to light, okay? And understand that that's going to be kind of like a natural progress. Okay, but the new beginnings is what strikes me the most. Another aspect of this card is that it's giving me the impression that it would be really important for you to kind of plant seeds of, figure out your goals for this relationship, and then figure out how to make those goals happen. So for example, if you can, maybe your goal is to make your person laugh, okay? And the seeds that you would plant to make your person laugh is to tell more jokes, right? I mean, it could be something that simple, or it could be that the seeds you plant is to share funny or silly videos, or whatever is your way of being, your sense of humor, that kind of thing. That's a very, that's not such a huge goal, but it still is a really good example of what I mean by planting seeds, okay? So be very aware of setting your intentions and then working to those intentions, okay? And work to those intentions before you set another one, okay? So kind of keep that in mind. All right, so that's really good advice. Let's see about the timing here. Okay, so we have Pisces, and then we have Wednesday. Make up a balance, be entirely realistic. So for some of you guys, you're going to be hearing from them almost immediately. Okay, if it's not Wednesday when you're watching this, then you're going to be hearing from them by next Wednesday. It's very soon. Okay, 4 days might be another one, just kind of to keep in mind. And then for some of you, it's going to take a while. Something I want to say though is that it could be the Pisces just during the Pisces when it turns into the Pisces next. That's what I mean. So that would be around next week through it would be around next week through let me look at the. I'm sorry, I don't normally need to do this, but yeah, through next week, through around the 20th of March, that's Pisces season, so that might be, and I say next week, oh, I'm sorry, this is going up in February, so this would be the 19th of February to the 20th of March would be a time where this time frame might be, regardless of when you're watching this. And then the other one is 12 weeks here. And this is 12 months. I don't feel like it's going to be a whole year before this happens. But I do have to mention, yes, that's on the card, so do keep that in mind. But I feel like 12 weeks is a really nice balanced number as far as the longest you'll have to wait. I would even say if you have to wait 12 months, unless you are really committed to this relationship, it probably isn't worth it, given that this relationship still needs to be built up quite a bit. But when we're talking about time frames, I'm talking like the next significant communication. So even if you hear from your person before 12 weeks, your person might not actually say anything that's really major until about 12 weeks from now. Okay, but it feels really, I feel like when I'm giving this reading, particularly for this audience that picked this pile, that it's more like, for some of you, it's going to happen so quickly that your communication's just fine. It's not, I don't even feel like you're even out of communication. But for those of you who are out of communication, still another three months or so, okay? Just know that this really wants to happen, okay? So definitely keep that in mind. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hi, those of you who picked the dark blue stars, here is your reading. Okay, so I want to shuffle this on screen so that you know that I'm not rigging anything. All right, just gonna shuffle. We're just gonna cut the deck a few times now. Okay. All right, so what they want to say to you right now, they want to tell you that you can relax a little bit. They're not going anywhere. They're feeling pretty good about it. They sometimes they get a little bit nervous about how to say things and about how to share with you, but the biggest message to you is to relax and know that they will step up and communicate with you. Okay, all right. So what they would like to hear from you. Basically, that you want them, that you want to be with them, that you have positive feelings for them, and they want to know. I feel like they don't fully believe that they know where they stand with you, so they also want to know where your heart is right now. Okay, and then what is kind of hidden here. This is going to take off really fast. Okay, this is going to take off really fast. When it does, it's going to take both of you by surprise. Okay. Another thing is that your person, I feel like your person or you or both of you wait a lot for something to happen between the two of you. Understand that sometimes when both people are waiting, nothing happens because you're both waiting for the other person to make a move. So do keep that in mind. And then understand that they do have other things that are taking their attention. They might have a particularly emotional, they might have an emotional burden, something that they have to put their emotions into. And sometimes they just get spent doing that. This could also be you, but I feel like this is your person. And that sometimes if it feels like they're emotionally not as present as you'd like for them to be, it's because of that. It's because they're kind of overwhelmed when it comes to that. Okay. I do want to say this card can sometimes come up when there's a long distance relationship. So if the two of you do have that long distance, or there's distance between the two of you, this is just letting you know that you picked, that this pile is validating that for you. Okay. All right. So now that's been done. Let's go ahead and see what the blocks are here. Oh, this is really interesting. Understand that endings are also beginnings, okay? When something ends, it ends so that something new can take its place, okay? So understand that if you feel like something has ended here in your relationship, understand that it's only so the new can come about, okay? This is talking about having faith in the relationship. I feel like both of you are at a place where you guys sometimes don't believe that the relationship is going to happen. And it's really important to have faith in that. Okay. And then we have balance. Only put forth as much energy as your person's willing to put forth. Okay. If you're putting a whole lot of energy into the relationship right now, and you pull back, then your person will definitely know that there's been a shift in that energy, and they'll want to fill that gap. But also understand that it needs to be more balanced. It needs to feel more fair between the two of you. And once it feels more like both of you are putting the same amount of energy in, then the communication will flow a lot better. Okay? So let's go ahead and see how we can overcome these blocks. Okay, so we have, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Getting prepared, just be prepared. Like, you might even want to rehearse conversations you want to have with your person. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you do that anyway. But yeah, this is talking about being prepared, rehearsing, making certain that you are anticipating what to say when your person talks to you and that kind of thing. If you are if your situation is one where you and your person are communicating pretty easily, but it's like you just want to know how to improve communication, this is coming up to let you know that you might want to kind of slow down a little bit and make sure that you're listening fully to what your person's saying too. All right. The Ace of Cups is just talking about bringing more emotion into it. You don't necessarily have to throw yourself at your person's feet and tell them that you're in love with them or anything like that. This is just talking about saying things like, I really like you. I really like that you did this, and that kind of way. In a way that can also help if you're feeling really overwhelmed by your emotions, and maybe you're afraid that they might leak out a little bit and you might kind of lose your head. The more you tell them that you like them, the more you are expressing positive emotions towards them, the less built up that'll feel, and you won't feel so much pressure to emote around them, basically. And then this, it's an interesting card, but it's talking about being aware that you have to be vulnerable in order to really connect with one another. And also understand also understand that it's like, this can be really, really scary. Okay. It can be so scary to be vulnerable, but being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak. It just means being willing to share some things about yourself that you're not so maybe proud of, or that you know, or if, for example, if you're feeling needy, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm feeling a little needy right now, you know, and I would just like it if you could spend some extra time with me, or, you know, stuff like that. That can be incredibly attractive to a person who is used to people not saying that and just acting out, you know. Being willing to address it and be direct about it is a lot easier and a lot more pleasant than having to deal with somebody who's acting out. So it definitely keeps this in mind. Yeah, it's interesting, because as I'm looking at this reading, especially in comparison to the others that I've done, it just feels like it's a lot. It feels like the communication isn't as big of a problem with the group who picked this pile than with some of the other ones. So, as far as the timing goes, we have Libra, 7 weeks. Okay, and then we have Cancer, 4 weeks. So we've got 4 to 7 weeks here. Those of you who, you know, it could be that you're going to have to wait until the Cancer season, which is June 22nd to July 22nd, or Libra season, which is October. Let's say no, it's September 23rd to October 23rd, I think, something like that. Yeah. So you might have to wait until these times, or this could just be talking about some energy that's going around. I feel like the more accurate time frame is 4 to 7 weeks. Okay. Just know you have a 4 and a 7 here. And again, it could be referring to this time period of the year, but I really feel like it's more 4 to 7 weeks. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that reading. Thank you guys so much for watching my reading. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for all the likes and subscribes and the comments and all of that good stuff. I really appreciate it. I look forward to bringing you more content. I will be posting the reading You Asked the Question on Friday. And be aware that I think I'm going to be having a bonus pick a card reading posting sometime in the meantime, sometime between now and next Monday. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and thanks for watching.